What you doing, readers? I'm the AC, and I'm going to talk about the book The Unlife of William Moore by Dana Lockhart. Now, let me give you a brief review of why I liked it. It's a great book to read. It's light on action, but it makes up for plenty with this rediscovery of a bunch of vampire lore that it goes into. The main character, Kaylah Rhodes, kind of come out of this hypnotic trance that she's been under by a vampire called William Moore, who's been feasting a little bit on her blood while she's been sleeping, but she snapped out of it, and she's okay with it. Now, throughout the story, it's pretty much just her questioning and testing what a vampire really is through William, who she calls Billy. And through this is when, as a reader, I get to rediscover all the kind of new myths that come with vampire lore, like garlic, can they be seen in mirrors, a crucifix, getting staked through the heart, the sunlight, all that kind of stuff. And there's stuff that I also didn't really realize, like roses, I never knew were part of vampire lore or what they ever had to do with it. But it's stuff like this that we get to see through the book. And there are just enough tension moments throughout the book of maybe something suspenseful is about to happen, or there are some action-y conflicts that go on through it. But throughout most of it, it really is just kind of Kaylah interviewing William. And it's really nice. It's a really chill read. And it has just enough to keep it going that keeps you intrigued for what's going to happen. Now, I know nothing about Interview with the Vampire. I never watched it, seen anything about it. I just know the title, Interview with the Vampire. If I was to rename this book, it would be Interview with the Vampire. That's how much just talking there is between Kaylah and William. And it's fine. It's great. I really enjoyed it. And it is this sense of rediscovery. But that's enough for the little review. Let's get into my favorite part, where it's the spoilerly discussion of it. So, if you haven't read it yet, go check it out. The Unlife of William Moore, because I'm about to talk a whole lot about it and why I liked it even more. So, first question I have for this book is, where does it actually take place? The actual town, city, university even, it has no name. And this actually really amuses me that this entire book, well written, and it didn't even need to actually take place in a named place. Now, there are some places that have a name, like there's the Oakland Cemetery, so when that popped up, I kind of just assumed this was an Oakland area. But there's also different Oaklands throughout the United States. It doesn't have to just be the one in California. It might not even be a real Oakland. It might not even be Oakland. I don't know. I'm like in a silly way amused by just the fact that there's not a named setting for this. It amuses me. But no, there's other things like Alyssa, her best friend. She's in it for I wouldn't say comic relief, but she's for a lighter tone to this whole book, because it is kind of negative, not really negative or dark, but it is kind of a downer at a lot of points. There's not a whole lot of cheery moments throughout this, but Alyssa is one of those. But besides that, there's not really much development with her, which is fine because it's not about her, but just enough to come in and keep a lighter mood to it when it needs it. Now, I will say, once Adam was introduced, and then seeing some of his interactions with the Professor Hart, it was kind of obvious to me that they were going to be vampire hunters. And it's mainly just right away how William interacts with Adam. It's the first time he's kind of getting worked up talking to anyone or about anyone. And right away I was like, okay, if there's going to be a conflict in the story, it's probably going to be with Adam. And what else is he going to be but a vampire hunter? It was kind of obvious to me. It wasn't like obviously thrown out there, but it's because I look for stuff like this. So to me, when I saw it, I was like, there it is. And then once you see him interact with Professor Hart more, which that kind of made it more obvious because it kind of just was out of nowhere that the two of them was having more meetings. And the fact that Professor Hart is also into Gothic literature, just like Alyssa, and there has to be someone. It's like, okay, yeah, they're working together as vampire hunters. Cool. But we actually don't see anything about Professor Hart doing anything vampire-y stuff. It's just his meetings with Adam. So maybe he was just making Adam do all this stuff. There's a good chance like Professor Hart is either a professional in this field who's been looking for it, or he's also just a fan of vampires and was sending Adam out just to test to see if there's anything actually real going on. We don't really know because we don't see Professor Hart do that much. Adam, on the other hand, he does just seem like a nice guy, even though the first time we really see him interact with William is kind of aggressive when it really didn't need to be. So either Adam knew of a vampire being around beforehand and he knew it was William. I'm not really sure. But either way, there's a part towards the end where Alexandre, I'm going to call him Alexandre. I suck at pronouncing names. It's either going to be Alexandre. I would just call him Al, but let's call him Alexandre. At the end where Alexandre is saying neither Adam or William would kill each other because they both care about Alyssa, love her, fall in love her, or not Alyssa, why did I say that? With Kaylah, that was a nice moment. And it's like, oh yeah, the whole time I was like, why don't one of them just finish it? Or, I don't know. It's kind of seemed like an iffy conflict. It's like they're not really making any moves on each other. And what Alexandre says about that is like, they don't want to kill each other because then that would make Kaylah hate whichever one wins. And it's like, yeah, that's a really good point. I really like that moment. Then there is the reveal that Alexandre is actually the one who turned Rose, the one who tortured and turned William. That was a big reveal I didn't see coming. For some reason, I thought it was the opposite way around. And that's why Alexandre seemed so jealous, is because Rose turned him, then someone else and left him. No, it was the other way around. And I like the comment about Alexandre being like the grandfather of William, kind of, grandsire. No, it was a really nice moment. But yeah, there's a lot of talking in this, and it's really interesting. It's really intriguing. The action that does happen, the brief little scuffle Adam and William has, very brief. Then the tension of when they first see Adam find William together with Kaylah. It's like, that tension. It builds up, and it made me want to just keep reading on, and then that keep happening. I'll have to keep having to see what's going on. But the thing I appreciated most is the fact that the fight with Alexandre was brief. Like, I'm not a huge person into like these long, drawn-out action and fight scenes. Maybe that's why I appreciate books like this, where there is just more intriguing dialogue. But I like that the fight was short. It didn't get dragged on. It just happened. It was over. Threat dealt with. Good. We don't need any dumb mistakes happening, because those turn into cheesy tropes, kind of, that happen too much. I like things being efficient and getting done, I guess. But yeah, besides that, there's a bunch of other things. I was thinking about, why would William want to go to the Halloween party as a vampire? It's like, wouldn't he want to try to be something else? But then it makes me think, if he goes as a vampire to a Halloween party, it can be like him going as himself, and it can be him like actually being himself around other people. And so that's nice too. It's just things I wonder about. But then this eventually leads me to, where does it go from here? We see that there's an epilogue because Adam pretty much forced William to erase Kyla's memory so that, it was the only way he would agree to work with him to get William away from Kaylah. But then we see in the epilogue that he kind of sneaks back into another party, kind of starts helping Kayla remember who he is. And it's like, okay. It's like, is she going to remember? Is she not? She seemed to have forgotten everything anyways. But it makes me think, is there room for a potential sequel? Of course there is. I think any story could have a sequel. But do I think there needs to be one? No. I really like the ending for it. This like hint or a mystery that she'll remember and they'll be together, Adam's going away, and they can be happy with him. That's a fine ending for me. And that's why I really enjoyed it. But that's all I'm going to say. Otherwise I keep rambling about everything. And at that point you might as well just read the book, right? But yeah, dude, you should read the book if you haven't already. And no, it's probably a really good one to reread. That is The Unlife of William Moore by Dana Lockhart. Let me know what you think. If you read it or you haven't read it, if it interests you, yeah, go ahead and leave a comment about whatever you want. But if you like what I had to say about this book, go ahead and like the video. You want to see me talk more about what I'm reading and whatnot, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and you can see when I do all that. But until next time, I'm the AC. Thank you for watching, and bye.